Do you love TV shows? We do too. Hello everyone, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and we're the hosts of We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're searching for a new favorite series or ready to revisit an old classic, we're here to guide you through an infinite world of TV shows.
Each episode, we watch and discuss the pilot for shows while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storyline.
So if you're tired of endlessly scrolling and not sure what to watch next, tune in and let us do the searching for you.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot. New episodes every Tuesday and Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our pod.
Welcome. Hello. Happy Saturday afternoon.
Happy Saturday.
Yes, we have a special guest in the pool right now. Jeff went out to check on the pool, and we have a new little turtle in our pool. It's so cute, but it will be relocated into the pond shortly.
Yes.
Yeah. He must have needed like some hot tub.
He's been in there. He's been in the pool for. I think he found his home. I think
Tootie.
He's been in there for a few days. Yeah, he's been in there for a few days.
Babe, why didn't you tell me?
I told you he was in the drain. I was gonna send you a picture, but then the whole thing with the clamp happened, and so then I just completely
clamping things.
And then I completely forgot. And so yeah, we had some continuing pool problems, but now they are completely fixed. Just knocked on some wood. I can't handle another thing.
It's not that wasn't a pool problem. That was like the clamp that goes around the filter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 3 years. You clean the filter every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
It unlatches, latches, the heat. I'm sure it's something that's regularly
just the bolt stripped.
Yeah.
And so and luckily it didn't cost $400 like when I was originally looking at clamps.
Yeah.
When I was originally looking at clamps, and I'm just like, maybe I should go on Amazon. And then found the actual brand. Pentair is our actual brand. I actually found a clamp for that. So I was like, okay, and I just went and checked, and it's all good. Pressure gauge is good. I did good.
Yay!
So now our pool is ready to go, and a little later tonight, when it cools down, we are getting in that thing.
Well, we have to move the turtle if we're getting in the hot tub because the turtle apparently needed some relaxation. He's been chilling in the hot tub. He's so cute. He's so little.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah.
I love turtles.
Yeah, they're cute.
All right, so we are continuing May. We are continuing Adult Animation Month, and this has been probably the most fun I've had.
It's just been very interesting. I mean, I've had fun, but it brought a new genre of TV that besides Bob's Burgers, I don't really watch a lot of adult animation primetime.
Right.
And so some of the ones we're getting ready to do were amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the animation, but also in
the
stories that they were telling.
There's one that we're doing after this. It's the one we're doing after this one where it was just like with Death Note. Like I knew you were gonna like it. I was just like, she's gonna like it, and I'm gonna look over at her at the very end, and she's gonna have a face. That's exactly what happened.
I know,
because the ending was brutal. Well, and you won't have to wait too long to listen to that episode.
Oh yeah.
But today we are doing a show that neither one of us had ever seen, which I think we did 3 shows this month that neither one of us had ever seen, and this one was a little bit more on the comedic side. We've been kind of heavy on the comedy for this month. I mean, it's how can you not with this genre? But yeah, we did BoJack Horseman, which I have heard about. I mean, I'd always heard about it, but I didn't really know what it was until we watched it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much just like, I mean, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I think once I kind of realized what it was about, I was like, okay, this is going to be exactly what I thought it was. And we'll get into that in a second. But for now, Anna's going to do what she always does and give us some episode and series information.
All right. BoJack Horseman, the BoJack Horseman story, Chapter 1. BoJack Horseman was an American adult animated dark comedy that premiered on Netflix on August 22nd, 2014, and ended on January 31st, 2020. The series ran for 6 seasons and has a total of 76 episodes. The series was created by Raphael Bob Waksberg, a writer and voice actor whose first major project was creating BoJack Horseman. He would go on to co-create other animated shows such as Undone and Tuca and Birdie. Set in an alternate universe where humans and anthropomorphic animals, self-aware animals that talk, live side by side. BoJack Horseman is a washed-up 90s sitcom star which centered around a bachelor horse raising 3 human girl orphans. Now living in obscurity, BoJack is determined to make a comeback by writing his tell-all autobiography while dealing with his alcohol addiction, his agent ex-girlfriend, the antics of his human roommate, and his rival, Mr. Peanut Butter. The cast includes Will Arnett as BoJack Horseman, a middle-aged alcoholic horse trying to become relevant again.
That was such a bizarre sentence to write. Alcoholic horse.
Amy Sedaris as Princess Carolyn, a pink Persian cat who works as BoJack's agent and is also his ex-girlfriend. Allison Brie as Diane, a ghostwriter assisting BoJack on his memoirs. Paul F. Tompkins as Mr. Peanut Butter, a yellow Labrador retriever who was also on a popular 90s sitcom called Mr. Peanut Butter's House, an exact replica of BoJack's sitcom, Horsin' Around. And Aaron Paul as Todd, BoJack's freeloading human roommate that often gets BoJack involved in misguided antics. BoJack Horseman got off to a rough start in season 1, being criticized for being inconsistent with the pacing, writing, and overall humor. However, it was the audience that immediately took to the series, commending it for mixing surreal and satirical comedy with heartfelt and bittersweet drama. BoJack would go on to be nominated for 3 Emmys and is currently ranked number 64 on the top 250 TV shows on IMDb. You can watch the entire series on Netflix.
All right, so what did you think of the pilot?
I am just really surprised that it's number 64.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the top third of the 250. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I liked it. I mean, I think when we were watching it, I was just like, this is weird, but interesting and good. So yeah, I liked it. I mean, I think I said when we were watching it that I would have continued watching it.
Yeah, when I said a second ago, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It was just exactly what I thought it was going to be. Once I saw, looked up the cast, and I was like, Will Arnett does the voice, and Allison Brie. Once I kind of saw, and Aaron Paul of all people, It was just kind of like, okay, the show's going to be, and then I saw the rating, obviously, on IMDb, and we picked a lot of top 250 for this month, and I saw that. I realized that as I was typing everything out, but yeah, I really liked it too. I am a fan of dark humor. I am a fan of, we talked about in the South Park episode, we are kind of both fans of that type of satirical humor that kind of pokes fun at society in general. And I think with this show, it really, I mean, obviously pokes fun at the industry, but also kind of talks about how, in a weird way, it really, I mean, when they kind of talked about the bittersweet drama and surrealism, it definitely feels like a more grounded, in a bizarre way, a more grounded take on what the entertainment industry is like for a lot of actors who get one big role and then that's kind of it, you know?
Yeah, because
she just happens to be a horse that could talk.
Correct. I mean, I think we can go ahead and lead into this about your other question about what is our take on the entertainment industry? Is this realistic? And I do sort of feel that, because I feel like right now, especially, everyone is trying to stay relevant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we talk about that a lot, especially with influencers, because let's be real, an influencer is a dime a dozen. Whatever is going to go viral next, that person is going to be popular.
It's like majoring in business. It's just there's so many of you.
Right. Well, I mean, but this in a way is really, to me, harder because you are your business.
Right.
I mean, I've talked about that That's the struggle.
You're the brand.
You're the brand.
Yeah.
You're the person who is doing it. And I imagine that's very difficult. I mean, especially as an actor, because there's going to always be someone younger, someone, that doesn't look as aged as you, and
something new. I mean, like, that's usually that's kind of where we're at now. And that's why there's so many, and we have talked many times about shows that we've done on here that we've never heard of, that have been around for seasons and have won all these awards, and they've had all these episodes and have all these accolades, and like we're just like, oh, I've never heard of this show.
Right,
It's just like, and that's a kind of another example of just like with influencers, it's just, and there's just an oversaturation of all content. I mean, all content. And I feel like, when did it start? In 2014? I feel like that culture hadn't quite hit yet, and they were still kind of in the era of like 2014. They were still kind of in the era of like,
oh yeah, because it
TV
ended,
and movies were separate. I mean, like, it really feels like the last,
because it ended right before the pandemic when all of that started to merge.
And really, it's been the last like 5, maybe 10 years max of TV and movies kind of not really, kind of being interchangeable now.
Yeah.
Like, you can be like, we just watched The Four Seasons, and that has, Tina Fey, who started off on SNL and then, went and made Mean Girls and then did 30 Rock and then made all these movies. And then, now she's, she created a TV show, and it's like, you're not just a TV actor anymore. You're not just a movie actor anymore, but you
have
also
to diversify.
But you're also not just an actor anymore. I mean, like, you have to have, it's more than just having
She's a writer.
It's more than just having a publicist now. It's like, you have to have a social media presence. You have to literally never make a mistake. You always have to say the exact right thing, or you're going to get canceled, and people are going to stop tuning into what you have, what you want to watch. And then if you're only known for negative things, the people that are tuning in that want to watch, maybe you don't want those people to be your fans. It's just kind of the idea now that it's just all one big, they're all in the same pool now. It's just like, it's all the same. Like, it's just a big old, I forgot what they're called. Yeah, I was about to say fruit salad or ambrosia salad, where you just throw everything in and mix it all together.
Oh, okay.
Like
cesspool, ambrosia salad, same thing. Well, yeah, and and I've talked about the stress of what that has to be like, of trying to become relevant, stay relevant, keep staying relevant, because that is your livelihood.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I'm going to go and start my own business. I mean, if I lost my job, I'm going to go and try to find another job to have someone pay me. I'm not going to be relying upon myself to generate my own income. So that's why I think it's hard to be in the entertainment industry, unless you're like super actor level, like, getting those millions of dollars per movie. But again, I mean, those die out pretty quickly too. Yeah.
I mean, I follow a lot of movie subreddits, like horror movies and just movies in general. And I mean, especially in the horror movie genre, like, you will have a movie that everyone will be talking about for like a month. And then it's just like, oh, and then the new thing comes out, and it's like this other movie never even existed. It's just, and then a year later, the movie that everyone was raving about, they're like, that movie's overrated. It's really not that good. And then 2 years later, it's like a cult classic. It's just one of those things where it's like, it's so inconsistent now that, like, I can't imagine working in the industry and thinking that I have like a steady paycheck unless I had a job. I mean, literally, it's really crazy that, like, there are certain jobs like Smosh where they work weekly and they have a steady paycheck, and that's like for a lot of them, especially the cast, that's the only steady paycheck they've ever had as an actor. Like, and everything else was just like a guest appearance here, a short film there, a commercial there. I mean, Keith got a Super Bowl commercial, so I mean, like, he probably made some cashish off of that, but like, not even enough. I doubt even enough to like get him through the year. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would imagine not. I mean, it's not,
I think
like,
it's just not as like lucrative as people think. It's definitely not nearly as lucrative as probably not nearly as lucrative as it used to be, because like we've said just a second ago, it's a dime a dozen. It's oversaturated.
Well, that, and
and things work differently now with like royalties and stuff.
Well, I was gonna say, and even with residuals and
yeah.
You know, not a lot of actors had that written into their contract that they would get it.
Yeah.
And then especially those that were on older shows that are now on streaming channels, they don't necessarily get residuals from that because that wasn't written in. It's the studios or the writers, producers who are getting the money for selling them to the streaming site. So I can definitely see how it's, again, a big struggle to, you know, get back into things and try to start a career again. So yeah, I imagine it's very stressful.
Yeah, not for me. I knew at one point when I was young and I had zero clue on the realities of the industry, like I wanted to be an actor, but like looking back on it now, I would have gotten eaten alive if I tried to actually be an actor. Like if I tried to be an actor and like did nothing else, like I would have been back at home. I can't, probably like in 2 years or something like that. Can't even imagine trying to do it. So would you be interested in like continuing watching BoJack Horseman, or would you?
I think so, because I mean, again, I know we say this on just about every podcast because we've run into very few shows that we were like, it's not for us.
Yeah.
But we both are television junkies, so that's it would have to be really bad for me never to want to watch it.
I think
But this one was one I would say I would watch, and it was only 76 episodes. So I definitely feel like we could watch an episode here and there, you know, just over the weeks, and especially now with the summer that I'm home a lot. I'm pretty much home now until August.
Yes.
I have one trip to take in June, but otherwise, I mean, we have a lot of TV watching time to do.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was kind of making a little mini list in my head. I'm like, what shows do I really want to keep watching, like, of the shows that we've watched? Because some of them, like, I fell off of that I really liked, like Melrose Place and like Lost. I kind of just fell off of them just because, I mean, I just don't have the time that I used to just sit and binge a show unless it's like late at night.
Well, Melrose was so many. Oh my gosh, there were tons.
There was like 30. There was like 30 episodes a season.
Well, right, and they're an hour.
Yeah,
it's like the shows that are 22 minutes. You
so
and I can watch 3 in one night.
Or the easily. 9-episode seasons like Severance or Heartbreak High. Yeah. It's just like we can burn through that. But yeah, I would continue watching this just because it's funny, and I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. And with this month has also been fun because I could see us watching a lot of these shows because they are only 25 minutes long.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of them, I mean, are less than 100 episodes. So that's, I mean, it seems like a lot, but when you kind of split it all up, it's like we can clear all these out in like a couple weeks or something like that. Yeah, so this is all about like BoJack and Mr. Peanut Butter, which I love that name.
I know.
They're former sitcom stars from the 90s. I know we probably touched on it when we did Family Matters so long ago, but that was so long ago that I feel like maybe we should update it maybe or talk about it for a second.
Okay.
Do you have like
Well, so you and I, again, we will bring up our age difference.
Yeah.
So I was definitely in a different place in the 90s than you were. I mean, I think that was probably like a prime TV watching show time for you.
Nothing
versus
but free time. Yeah.
I was at the tail end of my college career and getting ready to start teaching. And then later on, I was in law school. So my TV watching was, I will say, sort of off. It wasn't as consistent. But I mean, that was the era for me of like Friends, Not About You, Suddenly Susan, Veronica's Closet. I'm trying to think of what else.
We haven't done Veronica's Closet yet. Okay.
No, it hasn't come up as like an option.
We were going to do it I think it was a finalist for the Workplace one, but we ended up not doing it.
I mean, there's so many shows, but if you say sitcoms, I mean, I've got to throw in like Seinfeld. There's another one, and I can't think of the name of it. I have to look.
Spin City was a good one.
Spin City was a good one. I kind of fell off of that after
Just
the first
Shoot
year.
Me was really funny.
Just Shoot Me.
Yeah,
yes,
Just Shoot Me was really funny.
Shoot
I was
Me.
like the David Spade one. I was trying to remember. That was the first time I knew who Wendy Malick was, and I was just like, oh, she's really funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. I grew up in 90s TV was like I was the prime demographic because I was a kid and a teenager in the 90s. So yeah, definitely like the TGIF stuff. I remember so many TV shows that like lasted maybe a season or something like that, and I really enjoyed them. But the ones that really pop into my brain are always like Boy Meets World, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
Fresh Prince, yes.
Family Matters. I was more or less like not forced, but I kind of had to watch Full House because my sister watched it. I kind of hated it, but then I see clips of it today, and I'm like, I just hated it. I just hated it because I was a 12-year-old boy, and I didn't want to admit that I liked it. But I was like, I could probably go back and rewatch Full House. I'm not trying to do that, but like I ended up watching Fuller House on Netflix, and I was just like, oh, okay. Like I could still. It wasn't as bad as I remember. I watched Step by Step, even though it was looking back on it, it was such a bad show.
Was just the 10 of Us in the 90s, the one about the basketball coach?
I think so, because it was a spinoff of Growing Pains. So I think it was, and it had 3. And the reason why I know about just the 10 of Us, I watched it, just the 10 of Us, but I remember it because it featured 3 Nightmare on Elm Street actresses, and then Mickey from Rags to Riches was the youngest daughter. So I always remembered that.
I liked that show.
It was cute. Yeah, it was cute. I always like TV shows about like really big families because I only had my sister for so much of my life. I know I had 2 stepbrothers, but I always wondered what it would like to have like all those siblings. I always wondered like what would it be like to have 7 siblings? You know, I'm just like, because I have a big family, but it's not like we were ever like living in the same house. So the biggest it ever was when it was at my dad's house when it was 4 of us and then my parents. So there were 6 of us. But Wes was already graduated from high school, so he was rarely ever home. Sarah was like a junior in high school, so she was never at home. It was really just me and Tyler a lot of the times. So I didn't know what it was like to have. And of course, just having to share a room with Tyler for like 2 years, I'm like, yeah, I would have hated having all those siblings, never having any privacy. That's pretty much what.
Do you really wonder what it was like?
When I was little, yeah. I mean, when I was young, just because.
It looks idyllic.
It looks like fun. I remember watching, but then I remember being a little bit older and watching Cheaper by the Dozen and being like, no.
Yeah, no.
No, just pure chaos, and I can't even imagine how much you're having to spend just on food. Just on eggs, you know, I'm like just on like milk, like just on like the most laundry, detergent. Like I can't even imagine like what you have to go through.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that'd be a nightmare. So I'm pretty basic with 90s sitcoms. There have been so many that like I would have to full on like look at a list of them and be like, oh yeah, I liked that. Oh yeah, I liked that, just because that's how much I watched of it. Because I remember like even the sitcoms from like kids shows. Like I remember Clarissa Explains It All. That was really good. I remember that's not a sitcom. Sketch shows really aren't sitcoms. So yeah, I watched a lot Growing Pains, which I think was kind of 80s and 90s.
Oh, okay.
I did watch Cosby Show. I did watch Roseanne. Those are still funny, but the people that, you know, were the stars of that aren't the greatest people in the world. So take with that what you will. But yeah, I remember watching a lot of Roseanne just because I thought it was super. I thought it was
in the stratosphere.
I thought it was super relatable because it was just a normal like working class family. It wasn't like they didn't live in like this
mansion.
They didn't live in this like big mansion, and it was just like, you know, what do you do for a living? It's like, I'm a cop. I'm a elevator operator. It's just like, then how do you you're a talk show host for like a local TV station. How do you have this big ass house in the middle of San Francisco?
Right,
you know, it's just
right.
like Full House. That was a Full House reference, but like, can you imagine? And that house is located like in the hot spot where the exterior of that house is.
It's the rainbow houses in San Francisco. Yeah, I mean, it's like famous. They're famous. So
I mean, like I can't even imagine like how much that actually would cost. And like I said, he was a local talk show host, and he had a dead wife. So it was like, and I don't think she left him any money. So it was like, yeah, I just that part always cracks me up. But that's why I liked Roseanne, because I was like, this feels more rooted in reality, and it felt.
Well, it's probably why they had Uncle Joey, and then like Dave Coulier's character. I forgot what his name
Dave
is.
Coulier was Joey, and then John
Joey.
Stamos is Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse, yes, yes. Joey and Jesse.
Yeah.
That's probably why they had to have them live in with
They were jingle writers. Like they did. Like none of them had a lucrative job. That's probably why all three of them had to. And then Becky moved in. Lori Loughlin moved in, and she was just a co-host with Danny. So it was like, none of y'all are making money.
Exactly.
That's why all four of y'all are living in that house. That's why Becky and Jesse are living in the attic. Yeah,
That's
so
funny.
I probably name it. I've probably seen it when it comes to 90s sitcoms. So this show is all about, well, at least the pilot. I don't know how much of the show really has to do with BoJack's comeback. If this is just kind of like the starting point of us getting to know BoJack and his journey, if this is all what it's about, but it seems like it's just going to be about his kind of wanting to make a comeback, and that's especially what the pilot is about.
Yeah.
It's about making his comeback. We have seen, and I've been very happy the last few years. There has been just like a resurgence of comebacks of actors, and it's happened throughout. It's not like this is the first time it's ever happened, but like over the last, I would say like 20 years, there has just been like a resurgence of people that were really famous in the 80s and the 90s who kind of fell into obscurity and then out of nowhere came back. And you look at someone like Robert Downey Jr., who kind of faded out, and he came back, and he's Iron Man, and he's like one of like the richest people in Hollywood. And it's like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy when you think about where he was in the 90s. Anyway, so what are some of your favorite like comebacks for actors, actresses, TV, maybe podcast, maybe they came back with a podcast or, something?
Well, obviously, two that right now are just having moments that we were both very happy about were Ke Huy Quan from Goonies, from Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Demi Moore.
Mm-hmm.
As I've stated before, I have loved her since General Hospital, Jackie Templeton, and of course with The Substance, and Ke Huy Quan with
Everything, Everywhere, all at once.
Yes, got to get it right.
I love that movie.
So again, I'm just always happy to see people who, have just been Demi has been, I will say, a little bit around, not really acting too much.
Her cameo in Rough Night was pretty epic with Ty Burrell.
Yes, that was freaking hilarious. She married Ashton Kutcher, stayed a little bit, in the media because of him. Of course, they had kind of an acrimonious divorce. She wrote a book, her memoirs, that kind of rustled things up. And then she was in The Substance, got nominated for tons of things, won a ton of things. She didn't win the Oscar. Again, that one was kind of like that night, the whole chatter was Micah Monroe won for Honora, and she had lost for The Substance. Sorry if you haven't watched the Oscars, but everyone was like, and exactly like
Mikey Madison. Micah Monroe's from
from Greta.
Yeah. Mikey Madison, I know.
Mikey Madison. There are too many actors and actresses to keep their names straight.
I know, especially the alliteration.
Exactly. Eminem, not Marshall Mathers. So it was hilarious to see everyone going and apparently the Academy didn't watch The Substance, which we've now learned, voters didn't even have to watch the movies.
Yeah.
Until now they have to.
The screenshot of that meme be like, so this is just now becoming a rule.
Here it was this, ingenue coming in for her. She has been in a few movies, but this was her kind of first big nomination. And here was a seasoned actress, had been in lots of banger movies and soap operas and things like that, got her start in the 80s and has been around for decades, and she was great in The Substance. Again, I'm not a voter, I'm not a critic. Right. I loved her in that. I did not see Honora, so I cannot vouch for her performance in that movie, but I think it was just great for Demi Moore to finally get some cred for all the work she's done. And she has said as much, that she was happy for Mikey Madison.
Yeah.
And that she was happy for her, you know, and that, you know, she had won so many, Demi had won so many, so she was happy about that. And then Ke Huy Quan, I mean, I don't know anything he was in.
He was a stunt coordinator.
Oh, okay.
So that's why like 90% of the fight scenes he was doing for real and Everything Everywhere All at Once. And he just gave like such a... I love that movie. Like, I've watched it probably 3 or 4 times. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a very... I would say it's not a movie that if you've never seen it for the first time, you can't just like play on your phone and not pay it. Like, you have to, it's one of those movies where like, if you're not paying attention, you're not going to get into it.
Yeah.
And he gave, that whole cast that whole cast swept the Oscars. I mean, like, everything, like Jamie Lee Curtis, Michelle Yeoh, and then, Ke Huy Quan, he won, like all 3 of them won. The daughter didn't win, but she was in the same category as Jamie Lee Curtis. So it was like one of them won. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I felt like, she gave such a great performance in that movie. But like I was so excited when it was not only that he came back, but now he's just like starring and stuff now.
Yeah.
And I mean, it has a lot to do with, you know, like anybody that was alive in the 80s or 90s and grew up watching The Goonies. It's Data, you know, like it just seemed like he was always just playing himself when he was doing that movie. He was just like this sweet kid that like was a little clumsy, a little this, a little that, like, and it was just really sweet to see him win that Oscar. And then his speech, I just remember crying. I was crying because I was just like, I can't, this is insane. That was probably one of my favorite Oscar years ever, because another comeback that won for Best Lead Actor was Brendan Fraser for The Whale.
That movie was amazing.
That movie was, it was one of those where you really wanted to watch it. I really wanted to watch it. I knew it was going to be one of those movies that was like, this is going to be extremely bleak. This is going to be very sad. There's going to be probably very little resolution. And that's what happened. And I mean, like, but in the end, he was there for his daughter when she needed him, and then he was able to die happy. I don't think I'm giving anything away. That movie's been around for a while, but like, and if you don't think he's going to die in that movie, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
He's on the verge of death throughout that entire movie. But yeah, like, and you know, even kind of going a little further back in the 2000s, I remember watching How I Met Your Mother and Neil Patrick Harris just coming back, and I remember him being in the Harold and Kumar movie, playing a fictionalized version of himself, obviously, because he was playing a straight sex hound in Harold and Kumar, but he kind of came back and it was like, oh, he's funny, and it was just like, oh, he's really funny, and then he went on How I Met Your Mother, and it was just like, oh, he's really funny. It's just like, oh, like, he does it. You forget that he's, you know, this very like professional, very like composed act, because I mean, he just sold it in How I Met Your Mother playing Barney Stinson.
So one other thing that I want to say about comebacks, and these are comebacks sort of in a different way, because they just might not be acting, but this has maybe brought them back to acting when I don't think we're anticipating it, is sort of the plethora of podcasts.
Oh yeah.
And all of that, I think, to me, they might not have been the first, but I think they were the biggest, was, of course, The Office Ladies, which launched 1 million rewatch podcasts, hence our podcast, of just watching pilots, though. Yeah. But ones that I've been watching, and it's maybe led to, and you might realize this when I say it, is the podcast of Robert Eiler and Jamie Lynn Sigler from The Sopranos. Yeah. They do a podcast, and it's a little Sopranos, but also a little bit of like pop culture and life. And
just chit-chatting.
And to listen to them, and Jamie Lynn Sigler she's married to like a former baseball player, has 2 kids. But Robert Eiler, I think, has started acting again. And he had some struggles with either drugs or alcohol during his Sopranos era, which is probably common for a child actor. I think that was his first big thing ever. And so to see them,
I'm sorry, who did he play on the show?
He was AJ, the son.
Okay, I didn't watch.
That was Meadow and
okay.
AJ. They were brother and
Gotcha.
sister. They were like really the only major kids on the show. I mean, there were random kids throughout, but those were the main two. But to see him have a resurgence, because I mean, I don't think he's been on really anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the podcast has brought him back, as well as, you know, just their podcast, the talking about the show, and whatnot. But I feel like podcasts have brought a lot of actors and people back into the pop culture, into the talk. I mean, you and I listen to several rewatch podcasts like Girls Next Level.
Well, so many
Pod Meets World.
So many of them have kind of evolved into kind of what you were talking about with the Sopranos one, where it's not so much like with the real doctor, with fake doctors, real friends.
Yes,
with Zach Braff and Donald Faison. Like they still talk about Scrubs, but like so much of it is just them having their friends come on from the show and them just talk about stuff that happened behind the scenes. Right. And that's way more, for me, that's way more fun than just hearing like an episode, for them talking about like what an episode was about that we already know what it was about. I mean, and with Pod Meets World, they've kind of branched out, and they've not just brought back people from the show, but they kind of brought back people that were on TV at the time. And like they've had like Melissa Joan Hart, they've had Hillary Tuck, like they just had different people that maybe they were on the show, maybe they weren't, but they were still in the stratosphere, like you said earlier. Like they were in the zeitgeist. And like Andrew Keegan came on there, like all the Lawrence brothers have come on there. Like, you know, it's just really, you know, it's just really cool. But with Girls Next Level, I feel like since there weren't like a ton of episodes of Girls Next Door, I think they've been really good about stretching it out.
Oh my gosh, they've been on like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, they're only on like season 3. They just ended season 3, I think,
or 4 maybe. Yeah. But yeah, they're really good at blending and mixing things in with guests.
And every episode's, I mean, not every episode's like a banger, but every episode's interesting to a certain degree.
And yeah, so again, we're not going to start delving into podcasts because we could do...
Talking about comebacks.
Yeah, comebacks.
It's relevant.
But I mean, to me, that was one that was pretty interesting because, like, I think that's the other thing is you always have these questions about people, like what happened to them? Yeah. Where did they go? And, I mean... like both of our moms watched that show. Yeah. And so that to me was really interesting to listen to them about their actual experiences. And I mean, even Kendra came up for air, not on their podcast, but on another podcast and has kind of given the third version of the story where she was like, yeah, I knew what I was doing. Yeah. I did it. It saved me. It was a great experience. Here I am today. And then you have, you know, like Bridget, who kind of stays very neutral. And then Holly, who ironically is like, I hated it. He tortured me. I never wanted to be there. And everyone, you know, is always like, really? But anyway.
Yeah, Well, I think at some point...
We'll do podcasts of TV shows one day.
I think at some point we'll be doing reality shows for a theme month sometime in the future. Not in the immediate future, but we have a reality show month kind of planned out. We're not going to tell you when, though.
Yes.
But then another random one was, I kind of didn't realize this until I looked at it, because I was like, I kind of just typed in like biggest comebacks, like biggest actors. I kind of just put that into a Google search. I kind of got all these results, and a lot of them that I listed here were like the top results. I think like Robert Downey Jr., Brendan Fraser. I think the ones that I listed were like the top ones.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think so much about This Is Us was kind of Mandy Moore's comeback.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, she was in so many movies in the 2000s, and then it stopped, and I didn't realize it just because I think during that transition was really when I wasn't really watching TV a lot, so I didn't really think about it, and I never watched This Is Us. Yeah,
because she was in A Walk to Remember, Saved.
2 really great movies.
Oh my gosh, A Walk to Remember, like that was amazing. Of course, she was part of the early 2000 pop princesses with Britney, Christina, you know, Jessica Simpson, Mandy Moore. I think she kind of got lost in there.
Yeah.
She wasn't definitely a sex pot, kind of the way those
she
three
was so young. I mean, she was like 16 when Candy came out. We're the same age.
I had me a Mandy Moore cassette. I had maybe even a couple of singles. I loved her music. She's on.
Candy's a pretty great song.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
I have some other ones downloaded, but
I remember that
I love Mandy Moore.
That song used to come on Disney Channel a lot because she was an ABC Disney girl. Like that was her. She was on Princess Diaries. I think was her first big movie.
Oh, Princess Diaries. I forgot.
Yeah, she was the mean girl.
And she dated Andy Roddick in the tennis world.
That's right.
I knew of her because of that. So, yeah, I mean, I love This Is Us. I watched a few seasons of that. I didn't watch all of them, but I love me some Mandy Moore. I mean, I've always thought she was amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's like 4 full pages, but we'll be all right.
My gosh.
We'll be all
For
right.
this show?
Yeah, I know. That's why so there was an episode earlier where I was like, somehow I typed out 4 pages for a 30-minute show.
Okay.
I think I was talking about that with like the South Park episode that was like a page and a half, and I'm like, a lot happened in 30 minutes, so I was just very surprised, but a lot of it's just kind of like short paragraphs. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. And if BoJack Horseman, I'm not repeating that title because it's not in front of me.
Okay, it's crazy.
BoJack Horseman, the BoJack Horseman story, Chapter 1. Former sitcom star BoJack Horseman is being interviewed on Charlie Rose. We see a clip from BoJack's 90s sitcom Horsin' Around, where he plays a bachelor horse that adopts 3 orphan girls. Rose criticizes the show and mentions that it wasn't a critical hit as it was dismissed as a cliched sitcom, but it was beloved by general audiences and ran for 9 years. That is just the story of sitcoms, that like they were just hated by critics, but loved. Like it would get like 30 million or 10 million views an episode, and like, what do critics know? BoJack, clearly under the influence, non-coherently defends Horsin' Around, saying life is one long hard kick in the urethra. And at the end of a hard day, people just want to watch a good show about good, likable people where every problem gets resolved in 30 minutes. So, despite being drunk, he's very correct. If I really want to depress myself, I'll go watch Severance. At the mention of real life, Charlie asks what he has done significantly since the cancellation of the show, but BoJack is at a loss for words. The next morning, BoJack wakes up and is greeted by his roommate, a human 20-something slacker named Todd. Although BoJack does not consider Todd and him roommates, he wonders why he has let him live on his couch rent-free for 5 years, saying he's had tapeworms less parasitic. Later that day, BoJack meets with his publisher, Pinky Penguin. So he works for Penguin Publishing, and he's a real penguin, which I thought was really cute. At Silver Spoon Diner, which Silver Spoon... sitcom.
Exactly.
Regarding his upcoming book. It's like Final Destination. It's just full of Easter eggs. Pinky's publishing company is on its last legs due to print media falling into obscurity, and tells BoJack he keeps missing his deadlines, furthered by a cutaway where BoJack is seen not making any progress besides recording himself say the title and Chapter 1, which he's just repeating what the title of the episode is, which somehow takes an entire day, and they desperately need a bestseller so they don't go bankrupt. Pinky recommends him to hire a ghostwriter, but BoJack harshly declines the offer and tells Pinky to give him 1 more week. 1 week later, BoJack has still made no progress on his novel and ignores Pinky's calls. He is seen in his pajamas watching episodes of Horsin' Around while binge drinking and eating. Todd asks him if this is in part due to Princess Carolyn dumping him the previous night. There is a cut to 10 hours earlier at Elefante. Princess Carolyn, a pink cat lady, dumps BoJack because of his fears of commitment, as he doesn't even want to have a baby or start a family with her. Oh. All the while, BoJack is acting inattentive and then defensive, even revealing he recently had sex with actress Emily Mortimer.
Trivia, that is the mom of the youngest son on White Lotus this season.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam.
Right, okay. Which further shows how little weight their relationship holds to him. Mr. Peanut Butter, a yellow lab, and BoJack's I know it's such a cute name. And a yellow lab and BoJack's one-sided rival notices the two of them and interrupts their breakup, exclaiming, "BoJack Horseman and Mr. Peanut Butter in the same room? What is this, a crossover episode?" Which he says a couple times throughout the episode. It's actually kind of funny. Much to BoJack's chagrin. Todd suggests that they throw a party to cheer him up, but BoJack declines, saying he'll just eat too much cotton candy and throw up like last time, which they cut to him throwing up in an ungodly amount of pink substance coming from his body. BoJack then questions Todd on who told him that he and Princess Carolyn broke up. Todd then gestures towards an annoyed Princess Carolyn and she says he never took her home last night. BoJack sarcastically says everything is his fault, and Princess Carolyn certainly tells him once again to take her home. As he drives, Princess Carolyn tells BoJack it's the last time he will see her face. And then cutting her off in mid-sentence, he lets her out of the car while it's still moving. Princess Carolyn ducks and rolls and lands on the sidewalk like a cat, which was kind of a funny bit. Princess Carolyn then calls BoJack, revealing to the audience she's also his agent. BoJack is confused when she cheerfully calls him as his agent, as they just broke up. She tells him she can separate her professional life from her personal life, and she tells BoJack that Penguin wants an update on the book he's pretending to write. BoJack reluctantly agrees to an appointment on Tuesday. At Penguin Publishing, Pinky
that's a lot of P's there,
is upset that BoJack has still made no progress, saying the company is in dire straits, not helped by bad investments they made. He tells BoJack they are tired of waiting and are hiring a ghostwriter. Pinky then hands BoJack a business card with the name Diane Nguyen on it. He insists she's great and has a thing for horses. Pinky then hands BoJack a copy of Secretariat: A Life, which was written by Diane, and BoJack looks at her bio on the back with her photo, showing that she's a human Vietnamese woman. He remarks that she's cute and also that he always wanted to play Secretariat in a film. Pinky tells BoJack to give Diane a call and tell her that. So, thinking about that, so like Secretariat would be like the biggest movie for a horse. What would be the biggest movie for a dog? Would it be Cujo? Would it be Old Yeller?
Well, no. Well, Secretariat was actually a real horse.
I know. I'm just saying, like, what's the biggest movie? I'm like, what's the biggest movie for like each animal? It was just a random thought I had.
I know, but I'm trying to think of like a famous dog that there ever was.
Like a real dog.
Like a real dog.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Secretariat was actually real, so he wants to be the real. He wants to be the real racehorse. That's what's really funny. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just thinking, I'm like, what would be like the pit, like the ultimate role for a anthropomorphic dog? What would be like the role and that everyone would want? I figure Cujo's like the biggest like dog movie that would be a dramatic for a talking dog.
If he was going to do a remake, then yes, he would. He could be Cujo.
Was there a Secretariat movie?
Yes, there was with Tobey Maguire.
I never saw it.
Oh, okay. Oh no, wait, that was Biscuit.
Seabiscuit?
That was Seabiscuit.
That's what I keep thinking
But there
of.
was a Secretariat movie, I think. I don't know.
Up.
Why do you ask me these things so randomly?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's funny.
Let's stop quarreling.
At home, BoJack vents to Todd about being a failure and not being able to start his book. Todd reassures him, and Princess Carolyn, who's in the kitchen, tells him to let the lady write his book and be done with it, and reveals she's even there in the first place because she and BoJack had sex the night before and is now making breakfast. Todd suggests throwing a party and he can meet his ghostwriter that way. BoJack then questions what party and why Todd is so obsessed with throwing a party all of a sudden. And a previous and following flashback reveals Todd got into some trouble with the Mexican drug cartel at some point recently, and the leader says he owes him a place to throw his daughter's quinceañera. Todd, with a scared look on his face, simply responds to BoJack's questions by saying, "Parties are fun." It's just so funny that's Aaron Paul's voice.
Yes.
Jesse.
And I think that sometimes when we watch adult animation, when you know the voice, it's kind of like you start visualizing that person. Yeah. So it is sometimes a distraction, but funny.
Yeah.
So.
For me, it's Katie Seagal in Futurama.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Princess Carolyn then asks BoJack if the book is so important to him, why he hasn't worked on it in a year and a half. BoJack then says the book is his legacy and everyone thinks of him as a washed-up hack. BoJack then suffers a mild anxiety attack when he explains his fear of an unsuccessful memoir dooming him from becoming relevant in the public's eye again. He is hospitalized shortly after. The doctor then comes in and tells BoJack he suffered from a mild anxiety attack and that he needs BoJack to take it easy. Princess Carolyn then retorts that all BoJack ever does is take it easy, and he doesn't even have any real responsibilities or a job. BoJack then solemnly tells the doctor he can try. Todd then again suggests that they have the party and he can meet the Ghost Rider. BoJack finally gives in and says they can throw the party. At the party, which is really a quinceañera, BoJack is eating cotton candy, which we know where that's going to lead to.
Oh my God.
And is confused by the random people, but Todd avoids the question by saying they are people from all different walks of life. BoJack then runs into Mr. Peanut Butter, who makes his crossover joke again, and tells BoJack he's just kidding around. Mr. Peanut Butter then tells BoJack he wants to give him attention and talk to him, and then notices friend Erica and calls her out as he heads over to her. BoJack then meets Diane, the Ghost Rider, voiced by Allison Brie, which that's another one where it's like the voice. It's
you know
Annie.
The voice.
It's Annie from Community. She walks up to him as he is looking over the balcony, and she is shown to be socially awkward but nice. She then compliments BoJack on his house, and he tells her that after being in a dumb sitcom, he might as well get a sweet house out of the deal. Diane then asks BoJack what he's been working on, and he tells her he just sits at home. He just sits around his house and complains. Diane then asks BoJack how that's working out for him, and he says he can't really complain. BoJack then sees Mr. Peanut Butter joking around, talking about his show, Mr. Peanut Butter's House, about the dog who adopts 3 human kids, which is a complete ripoff of Horsing Around. I'm assuming that one came out afterwards. Was a dumb idea for a sitcom. BoJack remarks Mr. Peanut Butter is so stupid that he doesn't realize how miserable he should be, but he envies that. Diane then asks BoJack if he knows the story of the dad from the Brady Bunch, which I forgot about that. I forgot about Robert Reed and how she talks about how Robert Reed hated being known as Mr. Brady because in his mind it wasn't like a real acting job because he came from the world of dramas and from the stage and film, and this was kind of like being in a sitcom was kind of a step down for him. But what do we all know Robert Reed from the Brady Bunch?
Right. And I think that goes to part of our discussion of how like today, especially in the past 5 years, maybe 7 or 8, how actors have evolved. You know, like you're not just a film actor,
right.
You're also TV, podcasting, writing, all of those things.
So Diane's kind of looking on the bright side of things was even though he hated being only known for the Brady Bunch, she goes on to say that most people don't even get to do the Brady Bunch version of the thing they want to do with their lives.
Right.
Like you don't even get to, a lot of actors don't even get to have that one big role that they're known for. They just work in commercials and one day guest appearances, and that's it.
Yeah, how many times have we looked up an actor to see if we knew them from something?
And we knew them from like 10 different shows from one episode of like 10 different shows.
Yeah, they're like, they were in...
Like, oh, we've been watching them on TV for 20 years. That's where we know them from.
But nothing consistent.
Right.
So like, that has to be stressful.
She tells BoJack he is actually in a really good place because he can do whatever he wants and is responsible for his own happiness. BoJack then says that's depressing, and Diane says it isn't. BoJack tells her he can't even be responsible for making his own breakfast. There is a cut to him struggling to pour cereal in a bowl and calling out to Todd for help. I'm loving all the cuts and the flashbacks, and it's very, very Ally McBeal, very Scrubs with the flashbacks and like kind of that bit comedy of random intercuts of scenes. I always love that kind of stuff. Diane then questions what would make him happy. He tells her he guesses finishing his memoir would make him happy. Diane then says she could help with that. BoJack then asks if she really wants to, as she would have to spend a lot of time with him and probably will get sick of him. Diane reassures him that won't happen. The two manage to hit it off well until Diane reveals to BoJack that Mr. Peanut Butter, BoJack's sitcom rival, is her boyfriend. And after Mr. Peanut Butter walks over to them, BoJack questions this and says that he's really happy for them while uncontrollably vomiting cotton candy at the revelation over the balcony. And then when you see the amount of vomit that he has just, end of episode. I don't know what it is about an awkwardly long vomit take that I just find so funny. I don't know why.
Especially even in cartoon form.
Right. This was really funny. Now that I'm kind of rereading it, I'm like, this was really funny. I love the humor. I mean, it's everyone is so recognizable. Like Will Arnett, Allison Brie, Aaron Paul. Like you just know these voices. Will Arnett because we watch Lego Masters.
Oh yeah,
and which that show's still going. We just kind of stopped watching it.
Yeah, that one season we did not like. the one couple won like every damn challenge.
Yeah.
It got boring.
Oh no, it was the season with all of the siblings because they wanted like an all sibling.
Oh, that one too.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a funny show. And from what I hear, it's kind of one of those shows that's really funny, but it also has like really sad episodes. And there are serious episodes, kind of unexpectedly, kind of with a lot of other adult animated shows that have that dark humor to it. They'll kind of have like a really endearing episode every now and then. I feel like it's going to be one of those, but yeah, I'm into it. I think it's really funny. And like we said, it's 25, 30-minute long episodes. And I mean, that's an easy watch, especially with only 70-something episodes. Really easy watch.
Yeah.
I think that wraps this one up.
I think so. I liked it. I mean, like I said, I could keep watching it because it's not too many episodes, and I feel like you and I have a lot of lazy days.
I just leaned over. I almost hit myself in the face with the microphone.
Nice.
Because I was nodding in agreement with you.
Aw.
I agree with you so much I almost hurt myself.
Dang.
Well, that wraps up this episode of We Judge a Show by its pilot. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can follow us on Instagram at We Judge Pilot Pod. We're also on Facebook. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. What you got?
All right. I have the horse, the TV, the crown for Princess Pinky, peanut, butter, the worm, the penguin, the book, the plates and the utensils, the ghost and the pen, drinks, the cat, the dog, the Mexican flag, cake, and the bowl for cereal. And finally, I have to include any of the vomit emojis. All right. Well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.